Welcome back, sports fans. Rob Webster, once again, coming to you from deep the heart of Texas. Today, we're going to review week 12, and we're going to take a look ahead at week 13. No time like the present. Let's take a look at week 12. Week 12, we just did okay. At quarterback, we like Geno Smith, Patrick Mahomes, Tua Tagovailoa. I butcher his name every time, and I apologize to her. All three of those were all wins. I recommended them. They all did well. Josh Jacobs I recommended against Seattle. He tore it up, 47 points. James Conner did real well. He did 20 points against the LA Chargers. So that's another win. We picked Christian McCaffrey against New Orleans Saints. Nope, that was a loss. Only had 6 points. Jamar Chase didn't come back last week like he was anticipated, so that's a push. Amon-Ra St. Brown on Thanksgiving Day did real well. He got 23 points. That's a win. Terry McLaurin, not so much. Against Atlanta, he only had 6 points. That's a loss. Tight end, we really took a bath. Got TJ Hawkinson. He had 13. But Pat Fryermuth had 5. Logan Thomas had 1. So, the position of tight end remains a mystery. if you got it figured out, if you have Travis Kelce on your roster, you're doing all right. That's about it. So, other than that, who knows? Quarterback, we said steer clear of Mariota and Rodgers. Rodgers was a win. He only had 8 points. Mariota, he had 12. He did all right, but we're going to give ourselves a push on that one. So he wasn't in the top half of the scores this week, so give ourselves a win there. Cordarrelle Patterson only had 7. That's a win. Steer clear of him. David Montgomery, he did all right. He really compensated with a lot of catches. Had 11 points. We're going to give ourselves a push there against the Jets. Receiver, once again, we took a bath there. Garrett Wilson exploded for 25 points. And Thielen exploded for 19 points. You would have been wise not to steer clear of either of those guys this week. So those were both losses for us. But then Robert Tonyan with 3, Tyler Conklin with 7, tight end. So those are both wins. Gives us 11 wins, 6 losses, 3 pushes, a 63%, which is a solid D minus. So we passed, but that's all the credit we're taking there. So not so hot. But for the season, we're still running at about a 72% clip. We still got a good C in the course. So our sleepers, we recommended Taylor Heineke, quarterback. He did all right. We're going to call that one a yes. Latavius Murray had a good volume of carries, had good yardage, good point total. So we're going to give ourselves a yes there. Marcus Robinson did not show up in that Baltimore game. Only 1 point. So it's a fail. And Greg Dulcich, who knows with that Denver offense? They are a mess. So he only had 2 points. So that's a fail there. So once again, we're back to our regular 50%. So come in, look at my sleepers, pick 2 of them. You'll do all right. But enough living in the past. Let's look ahead to week 13. So who do I like in week 13? Well, at quarterback, I like Justin Herbert, San Diego, Los Angeles Chargers against the Las Vegas Raiders. Vegas pulled one out last week against Seattle. They still haven't been shown that they're able to really stop anybody. And Justin Herbert's just slinging the ball everywhere. He's throwing the ball. Solid guy to have in your lineup because there's always that potential that he's going to boom just because that's what he likes to do. Even the running back, Austin Eckler, just gets a lot of passes. So keep him in your lineup. But this week, he'll do particularly well against the Raiders. I also like Joe Burrow, Cincinnati Bengals against the Kansas City Chiefs, a rematch of last year's AFC Championship game. Burrow's playing some good football. If he gets Jamar Chase back this week, which it looks like he's going to, look out. That offense is playing pretty good football. And Joe Burrow, like Justin Herbert, just likes to get back in that pocket, sling the ball around. He throws a great ball. He's got great vision. Goes through his reads. Does all the things a good quarterback needs to do. So he's your man. If you have him, put him in there. He'll do well against the Chiefs this week. I also like Trevor Lawrence, Jacksonville Jaguars against the Detroit Lions. Trevor's looked good. He's looked good all season. He's had a couple of, I'd say, 3 or 4 games where he kind of busted, but everything else has been solid. He just needs to get away from Urban Meyer, quite honestly. So, but I look for him just to continue. He looked real good against the Ravens last week. So I just look for him to continue that against the Lions team that, hasn't shown that they can stop anybody. So look for Trevor Lawrence to do well against the Lions this week. That takes us to running back. Who do I like at running back? Well, first running back I like, Nick Chubb. Cleveland Browns against the Houston Texans. I like any running back against the Houston Texans. Anyone who's followed them, they're just not good. And, Chubb's going to get his yards. He did against Tampa Bay last week. They're going to feed him the ball. He's seeing a lot more carries than Kareem Hunt. I'll just continue this week. So, Deshaun Watson, I think they're going to kind of ease him back. They don't want him doing too much, especially there in Houston. It's a weird situation. So, but look for Nick Chubb to see plenty of volume. He'll turn it into yards and to points and to maybe some scores there. So, Nick Chubb this week. I also like Austin Eckler. I mentioned him earlier. Los Angeles Chargers against the Vegas Raiders. That game's just, if you remember last game of the season last year, those two teams went to overtime. It was kind of a crazy game because the Steelers needed one of them to win to get into the playoffs, and it was crazy. But and a tie didn't help the Steelers. A tie, then they both got in. It was a weird game, but nonetheless, these are two familiar opponents. You're gonna see lots of offense. So I look for Austin Eckler to be a big part of that Charger game plan. So he'll see catches, he'll see touches, turn those into yards, and hopefully points. I also like Aaron Jones, Green Bay Packers against the Chicago Bears. Aaron Rodgers not doing so well health-wise or stat-wise or success-wise this year, but he likes to get Aaron Jones heavily involved. Aaron Jones looks good. Every time he touches the ball, you think there's a potential there that he could take it all the way. The Bears, Mike White made them look kind of foolish last week, and they weren't able to do much on defense. So I see Aaron Jones, Aaron Rodgers, calling a good game plan there and getting Aaron Jones heavily involved. So look for Aaron Jones to do well against the Bears this week. At wide receiver, I like A.J. Brown, Philadelphia Eagles against the Tennessee Titans. A.J. Brown's been kind of up and down all year. He's still a stud as a player goes. My God, he's a physical specimen, makes things happen out there. He may not be getting the stats here and there, but I think against in that Tennessee game, they might be looking for a little revenge. He's playing against his old club. When he turns it on, look out. So I like I like A.J. Brown this week against Tennessee Titans. In classic Rob Webster fashion, you know how I like to put quarterbacks and pass catchers together, and I've done it again. So as I mentioned, I like Trevor Lawrence against the Lions. I also like Christian Kirk, wide receiver, Jacksonville Jaguars against the line. You know, he's Trevor Lawrence's favorite target. Zay Jones saw a lot of volume last week, but I still see Christian Kirk getting his due. You know, you knew he was a good receiver in Arizona. Just was kind of overshadowed by the rest of the staff there. But playing good ball for Jacksonville, so I see him getting plenty of volume this week against the Lions and doing real well. So Christian Kirk this week. I also like Chris Godwin, Tampa Bay Buccaneers against New Orleans Saints. You know, Brady's going to feed that ball around. He did it last week. He found Godwin a lot last week. Godwin had a good week last week. He's going to follow up with a good week this week. You know, traditionally, those Bucs go play New Orleans, and Lattimore shuts down Mike Evans, and or Lattimore with the Falcons always shut down Julio Jones. Godwin's not on that not on that docket, so look for that to continue. Look for Godwin just to continue the success he saw last week, build some momentum. He's getting healthy. He's looking good, so look for that to continue. So Chris Godwin this week against the Saints. At tight end, I like George Kittle, San Francisco 49ers against the Miami Dolphins. You know, recent news talks about an irritation in Christian McCaffrey's knee. So he might not be 100% good to go. They're going to have to pull out all the stops against Tua and that Dolphin offense. So they're going to have to keep pace. And I think that means volume to Kittle. So look for increased volume to both Kittle and Ayuk in that game. But Kittle will turn that volume into yards and points. So George Kittle this week against the Dolphins. Also like Tyler Higbee, LA Rams against the Seattle Seahawks, especially Matthew Stafford's back. If Matthew Stafford's not back, I'd steer clear of anyone there. But it looks like Stafford will be back. He's out of concussion protocol, back practicing and everything. So look for Tyler Higbee to get plenty of volume. You know, they just lost Allen Robinson. And Stafford's going to, be Matt Stafford slinging that ball around. So look for Tyler Higbee to see a little bump in volume from that. So hopefully turn into points this week. Once again, classic Rob Webster fashion. Pairing a pass catcher with a quarterback. As I said, I like Justin Herbert. I like his tight end this week, Gerald Everett, against the Vegas Raiders. There's plenty of balls to go around. Gerald Everett will see that. Allen, Palmer, Eckler, Everett. Those are the guys that you have on your roster. You probably want to get in. They're going to see volume this week. So, but especially tight, as I've said, tight end's been a rough go this year. So anytime you can get any production from that position, consider it a bonus. So look for Gerald Everett this week, charged against the Raiders. That takes us to who would I steer clear of this week? First one I'd steer clear of is Mac Jones, New England Patriots against Buffalo Bills. Mac's been up and down. I think the Bills are going to just turn it on this week. It's a division game. It's important for the Bills because if they kind of don't stop what's happening there, they're not going to get a good seed. They're going to have to face one of these division opponents in the playoffs. It's just not going to be pretty. So I think they're going to want to take care of business here. So you're going to see a Buffalo Bill defense working with some urgency, and that doesn't mean good news for Mac Jones. So I'd steer clear of him this week. I'd also steer clear of Ryan Tannehill, Tennessee Titans against the Philadelphia Eagles. The Eagles defense, they're going to put a lot of pressure. They're going to get in Tannehill's face, so I just see him struggling. They'll try to establish a good run game with Derrick Henry, but I just don't see Tannehill getting the volume or the points this week, so steer clear of him this week. In that same game, other side of the ball, at running back, I'd steer clear of Miles Sanders. Miles Sanders had a huge game last week, just 140-some yards, a couple touchdowns. I mean, he looked good. And he's looked good for most of the season, but that Tennessee defense is playing at a good level this week. Look for them to shut down the run, and that includes Miles Sanders. Or if they slow the run, what Philadelphia likes to do is get Jalen Hurts running, get Boston Scott running. They have Gainwell as well. They got a deep backfield, and so just look for the volume to be spread around to that run game. And so, who suffers because of that? Miles Sanders. So avoid him this week. I'd avoid Dalvin Cook, Minnesota Vikings against New York Jets. That Jets defense has been tough. Say what you will about the Jets as a team or where they're headed or what they're doing, but that defense is playing good ball. Look for that to continue. Dalvin Cook will just have a tough time finding yards, finding openings. They'll get Madison involved. So I'd avoid him this week. At wide receiver, I'd avoid Allen Lazard, Green Bay Packers against the Chicago Bears. Aaron Rodgers is just not, I don't know if he's not playing 100% healthy, especially this week. He's coming off where they thought he had kind of a serious injury there. But it looks like he's going to be playing this week. I don't know. He likes finding Watson. Lazard just doesn't. There's no confidence there, so I'd avoid him this week. Also, wide receiver, I'd avoid Jerry Jeudy, Denver Broncos against the Baltimore Ravens. What can I say about the Denver Broncos offense other than they just haven't been good this year, and I don't see that changing against the Ravens. The Ravens have given up quite a few yards and points this year, but I just don't see Russell Wilson, Jerry Jeudy taking advantage of that. If anything, maybe Courtland Sutton, but so I'd avoid Jerry Jeudy this week. So who would I steer clear of at tight end? Well, all of them, except for Travis Kelce. Even Mark Andrews can be questionable from week to week, but he's still a solid guy to put in your lineup. But now you got to pick some, especially coming up here. And so the first one I'd steer clear of is Cole Kmet, Chicago Bears against the Green Bay Packers. If Justin Fields does come back, there's just going to be a lot of protection that needs to happen there with him, and so it's just going to be a tough go for Cole Kmet. So I'd avoid him this week. Also, at tight end, I'd avoid Mike Gesicki, Miami Dolphins against the San Francisco 49ers. Mike Gesicki's just not been quite himself. Occasionally he'll look all right, but I just don't see him doing that well this week. So I'd avoid him. That takes us to our sleepers. So who are our sleepers this week? Well, at quarterback, we're not going to give you any names. Um, I mean, I could say Mike White, but I'm not going to. So, it's just that who's got some boom potential this week? The first one, Jimmy Garoppolo. Uh, that Miami defense has been suspect at times this week. If Christian McCaffrey is hobbled, you might see a lot more passing. You'll see Kyle Shanahan kind of pull out all the tricks. And Jimmy G's a fine quarterback, can throw for yards. I think people don't give him enough credit. It's a good quarterback. So I like him as a sleeper this week. So maybe if you need a flyer, he's probably someone who's available on waivers. Go get him, put him in your lineup. At running back for a sleeper, I like Kareem Hunt. Not done much this year, especially by Kareem Hunt standards. But Houston Texans team is really bad at defending the run, and so I think there's a potential boom there for Kareem Hunt, especially if they get up big. They'll want to rest Nick Chubb. Don't want to risk injury there. Get Kareem Hunt the ball. You'll see him do well. So I like Kareem Hunt as a sleeper this week. The wide receiver, I like Van Jefferson, LA Rams against the Seattle Seahawks. As I mentioned earlier, Allen Robinson is out. You're going to see a bump in volume here and there. Van Jefferson will be one guy that you'll hopefully see some more volume. Once he kind of gets in the swing of things, last year the Super Bowl run, he was an important part of that, and he just hasn't been able to bounce back. So there's going to be a bump in volume, more targets to spread around. Hopefully Van Jefferson, like I said, he's a sleeper, so there's some boom potential there. So we'll see what he does this week. Finally, a tight end for a sleeper. I like Dawson Knox. Buffalo Bills against New England Patriots. That Patriots defense is pretty stingy. So, I'd look for Allen to kind of look for his tight end. If you're in a PPR league especially. So, I mean, Dawson Knox isn't going to take any deep routes or get any long touchdowns, but he'll get a steady volume, especially if that New England secondary is shutting down those Bills receivers. Allen's going to be passing the ball, so look for Dawson Knox to potentially get some boom there. So, well, hey, that's week 13. So go forth, watch football, enjoy. I want to thank everybody for watching. If you have any comments or questions specifically, leave them in the comments section. I will respond. But once again, thank you, everybody. Enjoy week 13. Have a blessed weekend. Thank you very much.